Hello everyone, my name's Kitty and I'm the current Marketing Director of LSE UPR. I hope you've all had a fantastic afternoon listening and participating in the various panel events. I, for one, am feeling thoroughly inspired by the sheer amount of talent and commitment that has been demonstrated this afternoon and hope it serves as a motivating force for these final 2.5 weeks left of Lent term. As is probably very clear by now, making research more accessible to students is of the utmost importance to the LSE Undergraduate Political Review. And that is why, despite all that was going on in the world last summer, and it indeed is still ongoing, we knew it was absolutely vital to ensure that our annual essay competition went on as normal. The essay competition is directed towards A-level and equivalent students from across the globe, with the aim of encouraging academic exploration outside of the standardized school curriculums and to give the students a taste of the type of essay one does when at university. The questions are picked each year by the UPR Executive Committee and are related in some way to contemporary politics, while still allowing for freedom for individual creative direction and a diversity of interest to take part. So without further ado, I will now hand over to Professor Cheryl Schonhardt-Bailey, who is both head of LSE Department of Government and a long-standing supporter of LSE UPR, for the Winners Showcase.
Thank you, Kitty, very much. And Chantal, thank you for inviting me. And to all of you who are braving yet more time on Zoom, which I think all of us are pretty tired with this two-dimensional world that we're living in at the moment. So my thanks to you all for joining this conference. I would also like to apologize for my absence during the conference itself. I would love to have attended, and as some of you will know, some of you old timers who I see on this call, I mean UPR old timers, will attest to my attendance, my faithful attendance at UPR conferences in the past. So, so many apologies for that. Before I say something about the prize that I'll be, I guess it's already been awarded, but I will be at least mentioning it and highlighting our prize winner for the essay competition. I'd like to just give just a few thoughts of my own on where the UPR started and where it is today, because I think for many of you, you won't necessarily appreciate the rather explosive growth in the activities of the UPR. It's been, quite frankly, heartwarming, encouraging, inspiring to witness the enthusiasm, the initiative, the perseverance in face of, quite huge challenges, particularly over this past year. And to see the UPR just go from strength to strength is an amazing thing, quite frankly. It started, let's see if I can remember the right year. I think it was 2015. I think that's right. I didn't look this up before I started, so I'm winging it a little bit. But with Jack Winterton, who was a student of mine at the LSE, and sometimes students kind of, go through their university experience and they might think, well, I'm just sort of a cog in the wheel and I'll get through and I'll get with my, I'll get my degree classification at the end of it and get on with my life. And then occasionally you have a certain number of students who have a lasting effect and make a real difference going forward. And I will say in Jack's case, his brainchild was the UPR. And I don't think even in his wildest dreams, he would have imagined where his small efforts relative to where we are today would have made such a difference and had such an impact on the department and on so many students going forward. The UPR had gone from, in Jack's day, just a group of like-minded students who got together and thought, wait, the LSE is this research university where academics pride themselves on their stellar, their cutting edge research. But what about us? What about us, the students? How do we participate? How do we showcase what we can do? Because actually we can do a lot. And so that as a spark got the UPR going. Um, and I think each year, each new editor has brought his or her own personality and initiatives and new ideas to keep building and improving an existing structure that I think, quite frankly, works extremely well in nurturing younger students, first year students, second year students, to put in to place kind of a recruitment strategy to keep the UPR moving along and growing and keeping it strong. So I think that, quite frankly, it's a unique and incredibly successful initiative, and every single editor, including this year's editor, Chantal, has made a huge difference in growing the UPR. So well done to the whole UPR team. Well done to those who I recognize who are on this call who were previous UPR innovators and participants. And so well done. I just wanted to have that little advert for my enthusiasm for the UPR. The other thing that I'll just say is, clearly this year has been unprecedented. None of us would have anticipated going through what we've all been through over the past year. And with respect to the UPR, I don't know about could have died, but it could have really lessened in its ability to reach out to students, because there's been a lot of just competing pressures across the board on students just to keep moving forward. And the fact that Jintao and the whole UPR team managed to, quite frankly, I think, put together the best conference we've ever had is pretty amazing. It's quite astounding. And one of the oddities of Zoom, of COVID, is that using Zoom actually has a few benefits in terms of, we've got people, all around the world who can join this conference. So that's something to kind of reflect on for the future and think, well, maybe there are things that are positive that might come from this whole global pandemic. So in any case, I promised I would keep this reasonably short, and I've probably already used up the bulk of the time, but Chantal, forgive me for my enthusiasm for the UPR. Okay, all right, on with the task at hand. So I think maybe it was 3 years ago, I'm losing track, the UPR had started the essay competition for A-level or equivalent students, which I thought was a really brilliant idea to get even younger students who are enthusiastic about learning and researching politics and broadly defined, to bring them on board in a way that is tangible, visible, and award-winning, pardon the pun. So in any case, this year's essay question was, as I think many of you know, what is the most important lesson for political leaders to learn from the COVID-19 pandemic? Now, I think each of us may have our own views on what that might be, or we might have a laundry list of them. So it was quite a tall order to have students respond to that in a coherent way. But they did, and we had a record number of entries this year, 83 entries from A-level or equivalent students from around the world, which is fantastic. So I think that the prize winning essay is a particularly noteworthy achievement. And the prize goes to Jasper Shuan Lan from Singapore, who I believe is with us. today. Yes, okay, there we've got a little bit of a, oops, there we go, there we go. So we've got we have a virtual certificate. I believe that a real one has been sent to Jasper along with some real prize winning funds. This is not all remote and virtual. Some of it actually is tangible and real. And in any case, Jasper's essay had focused on the concept of a second modernity, and he had emphasized the risks that are presented in an increasingly globalized world. He had a number of takeaways for international leaders, including the importance of public trust and international cooperation, and also acknowledged the inequalities that COVID has exposed. And I think that there will be a link somewhere that you can go to if you haven't already to read, oh, it's in the blog, the UPR blog, to read the essay in full. I've had a look at it. It's an excellent essay, and many congratulations to Jasper. So I think if you can all find your little reactions, we can all give him a round of applause. Okay, I will just share just one last joke, and I don't know if Jasper might say some words, but in adding your applause, I will applaud all of you. I just came from a meeting with rather well, colleagues of another generation, many generations on from you, of a certain age group, and there was a long discussion among them as to how to find the reactions tab on Zoom. So well done, all of you, for giving Jasper a round of applause. And Chantal, I think I'll turn it back over to you or to Kitty. I'm not sure where you take things from here.
Thank you, Cheryl, for doing the honour of showcasing our winner. And thank you again for being such a champion of undergraduate student research. And despite all of the challenges this year has thrown at us, the UPR has always known that you and the government department are here to support us whenever we need it, which I can say as marketing director is quite a lot. I do not envy the person who has to deal with my barrage of social media tags and requests, as I'm sure a lot of you in this call can sympathise with. And as I reflect back on my year with LSE UPR, I'm proud of what we have been able to achieve, as you mentioned, especially when considering that many of us have never actually even met each other in person. It's been a privilege to build upon the foundations laid by Jack and previous executive committees with the overarching goal of promoting undergraduate research and academic exploration. And it's with this in mind that I would like to just share with you all some of the many ways you can engage with the LSE UPR going forward. And as Helen, our Deputy Editor-in-Chief, mentioned earlier in the day, this year we saw the publication of Volume 4, Issue 1 of the LSE UPR Journal, featuring 7 exceptional pieces of undergraduate research. We are now currently accepting submissions for the next issue of the journal, and so I encourage you all to submit any research that you have been working on. For those of you currently working on your undergraduate dissertation, I'm sure this motivating factor could not have come at a better time as the deadline approaches. For those students not in their final year nor writing a dissertation, fear not, because despite the LSE Undergraduate Political Review being our name, the journal is far from the only thing we do. This year, we relaunched the online blog to allow students to dip their proverbial toes into the world of research and to explore their own interests outside of the course material. The blog now features short pieces of writing of approximately 1,500 words from students across the globe. As we all begin to receive formative essays back in the coming weeks, there is nothing stopping you from submitting this work to our online blog. As well as reading other people's blogs and journal entries, other less hands-on ways to engage with the LSE UPR include reading the newly launched and ever-growing list of study guides written by the lovely members of our academic division. These study guides align to LSE Government Department courses and seek to help students grapple with important themes, theories, and ideas from these courses. All are available to read on our website. If you are looking for a new book to read, this term we have also launched an executive committee book club in which our team have recommended a book that is some way useful or beneficial to any student in the government department or who has an active interest in politics. This is intended to be released twice a term, with the first edition featuring works of both fact and fiction, and again is available to read via the UPR website. In addition, we are greatly looking forward to our imminent launch of the LSE UPR podcast. Episodes will feature students and academics to share their advice and warn of any potential pitfalls when conducting research. Whilst this conference may be our biggest event, it's most certainly not the only one. So join us next Wednesday via Zoom for a research dialogue between LSE UPR and a selection of other student publications at LSE. For those deeply interested in the future of student research at LSE, this is an event not to be missed. And finally, as Lent term draws to a close, so too do the current Executives Committee's reign. And so, should any of you wish to be a part of next year's Executive Committee, we are pleased to announce that applications are now open, with the deadline being set at midnight on Monday, the 5th of April. It's worth mentioning that these positions are only open to non-final year students at LSE. And so to stay up to date with all things LSE, UPR, and all of the initiatives I've just mentioned, be sure to follow us on social media. We're currently on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and I believe someone should be sharing a link to the chat right now. And with that, the LSE UPR annual conference is officially over. So thank you all for attending and for showing such an active interest in the ever-growing list of new challenges and new perspectives that we face in society. I look forward to seeing you all at our upcoming events and to seeing your names within future LSE UPR blog posts and journal entries. Thank you.